Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dale Linwood. We've got a small family of three of us, me, the wife and an 8-year-old son, who packed up and left the Gold Coast, Australia earlier this year. In June the 26th, we flew into Thailand. We were a successful construction company on the Gold Coast, and we had half a dozen, quite a few trucks and a few employees, and revenue way over $1 million a year. We were structurally fine, but we had a gut feeling that things were going to turn a bit nasty between the taxes and so forth. Everyone knows the living cost over home is just out of control. Was it faith that, or karma, I don't know, or just good luck, leave it at the time that we did? We thought it was irrelevant to what everyone else is doing in their life. We come here for a holiday, me and my little fella Gian, for Songkran for like 10 days in April, after not being in Thailand for nearly 7 years. We were 50-50. I got home and the wife says, you think we can make it, what do you think? And I said to her, man, I don't know, And I'd done my homework. I spent basically 10 days looking at condos, prices, locations, talking to people. I stayed where I wanted to invest. That's a great tip for any country, I guess, excuse me, is to, before you go to invest in any country for investment properties or to live, it's pretty basic knowledge, but go and stay there first. Check out your neighbours, check out the pool, check out your gym, check out the administration downstairs in the office. I did that. I talked to her. It took me a few days to catch up with the locals in the pool. I sort of stalked them, and once I V-lined for a couple of them, I was like, how long you been here? What are you paying? And what's it like? And what's the gossip? What's the dislikes and so forth? And every condominium in Thailand, they have this meeting once a year. It's a body corp meeting for every guest or every owner who owns in that building. And the great thing about it is a lot of the rules in there are voted on, like Airbnb and all that, long time stays, and the people who live there, even tenants can turn up apparently. Well, a lot of the tenants plead, we don't want Airbnb there, but they don't own the condo. So it's a little bit of a catch-22, I reckon. Like, how can you have a big opinion on? I understand that they live there full time or whatever, but when the owners who have invested in $5 or $10 million baht, that the tenant can. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. But I was in the pool, and I said to the guy, "What's it like?" He said, "Oh, it's okay, but the Airbnb, the freaking guys who come in here and they destroy it and all that sort of stuff." And I'm thinking, no, that's revenue for the owners. And I understand if you're living there, you got to put up with the noise and stuff like that. But anyway, there's always two sides to every story. The point I was making was, every time they have an annual meeting, you get to vote on things. For example, Airbnb, maintenance and all that sort of stuff. I haven't been to one yet, but I definitely will be turning up to the next one. For the simple fact is, apparently the Thais who own the building, or some of the condos, they don't turn up to those meetings. So sometimes the voting comes down to maybe a minimum few, which could go in our favour, I think, anyway, because I'm all for turnover. Obviously, when you got money invested and you want your condominiums to be rented out, whether it's rented out for 1 month or 3 months or 6 months, it's better to be rented out than costing me money sitting there empty. It's frustrating sometimes when you don't get the dates right, or someone stays for 2 weeks and then it stays empty for 2 weeks. The law in Thailand is 30-day stays in condominiums. And a few of my guests or customers and stuff like that the wife rents them out to, some of them only come for 2 weeks. And it's frustrating because it sits there for 2 weeks, especially in high season. Oh, that's another thing about high season here. I can say this because no one's yelling at me back, but you know how You know how us Aussies, Americans, English, we love our hamburgers, right? I've got a real passion about building hamburgers. I love them. I love them. I love them with all my heart. Here, I've met up with a lot of hamburger shops, and they are genuine, lovely people, and they complain about low season, and then they try and live the dream for high season. I've gone around the hamburger shop. I understand everyone needs holidays, right? But this is a high season. They've got notes on the door, and they've closed for like a week or 4 days. And it's like, you guys are in the middle of high. I understand the employees need to go, whatever. But wouldn't you, as an owner of a company myself, wouldn't you rectify it so that no matter what, the shop stays open, and maybe come to a deal in the low season, you can shut it down for a week or something like that? I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, I went to like 3 hamburger shops in the last 2 days, and they got notes on their door, back on number 2 or back on number 4. So they're lovely people, and when I go there in low season and they complain about low season, I'm going to say to them, just a suggestion, maybe next high season don't close it for a week. You probably missed out on a lot of money, because I come here twice. I don't know if I can be that rude, but just, I don't know. My personal opinion is I'm gonna open something up next year. I got a couple of ideas. I got one good idea. Well, I got one idea that no one's really doing here. Every idea in Thailand usually rolls over and fails or whatever. So whatever you do invest, you got to be willing to lose, or whatever assets you put into your business, you can regroup the money back out of. You know what I mean? That's a clever way of doing it. I would never go into a restaurant business or something like that where you can't regroup your money. But in saying that too, but my company would be open all next high season. There's no way in hell anyone will be getting time off. And if not, I'll be on a working visa by then, which I'll leave the doors open 12 hours a day. You just don't close. Like in Australia, we had a construction company for 7 years, and there wasn't one day, even in the rain, that we weren't available. All high season, low season, rainy season, hot season. 4 o'clock concrete in the morning, 4 o'clock PM concrete, bring it on. Yeah. And even I didn't have the boys in the yard, I'm like, okay, I've got to go do this by myself. Because you just don't say no to a phone call, and that's just my opinion on business. It's just, I'm not sure how other people think about things, that they deserve time off, and hey, that's their business, but it's not my business. Hey, you want to see something cool? I'll show you my view. Hold on, watch this. The sun's about to come around that building there. That building there, funny story about that building. That building is empty. Got up the structural side of it. Got up the structural side, hold on. That building got the structural side up. Someone must have waived some paperwork in the council or something, I don't know the details. They got it up nearly to the top, and then it blocked the view to the temple. And the temple's got some magic, some serious pull. And obviously they went, this ain't gonna happen. So they stopped the construction. We actually, my wife, sorry, not me, but my wife got offered 1 or 2 of those condos in there on a no deposit deal and just pay them off. Luckily she did anyway. There's a funny story. They pulled down the crane and they pulled down the scaffolding and stuff like that, and it's just sitting there like a big eyesore, blocking the view off the temple, which is pretty nasty. Not sure how they're going to get it down without. I mean, if it went down like 8 levels, it would have been a great return. It would have been a great solid investment. How someone didn't cotton onto it on the way up, going past level 8, I don't know. That's Thailand for you. Yeah, cool. The pros and cons are coming here. 2026 is around the corner. Anyone watching this, I want you to have a most sincere and successful 26. Anyone who wants to try and follow my footsteps and relocate out of the West, I wish you all the best luck. It's a huge commitment. Coming out of Australia, you've got until 2026. I think it's July the 26th as well. Anything after that, you're going to get stung with a tax. The place has just turned to crap. I read it in my comments constantly. I knew it was going that way. The way things are, I don't really want to put that on my page about what's going on over there, but when you've got 1,000 people arriving a day, and then that terrorist thing what happened the other week in Sydney, that may they rest in peace. I sit here baffled, actually baffled. The authorities go on there and they're all hugging, rah, 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 and that's all good, yeah, it's all good, but I'm not sure how educated everyone is over there. I didn't finish school, but let me tell you something from someone who didn't finish school. If you're that sincere about making your country so great again, and you're sorry for what happened on Bondi Beach, wouldn't you do the right thing by those people, or your own people, the 28 million people you're meant to represent? Wouldn't you stop the planes and go, halt, no more for 5 years. Let's just put a ban on, unless you're coming in as a student or some sort of professional doctor or not even that. Just ban it. We don't need it. And the amount of respect and love you would get for doing that, and apologise for letting so many of those in, would be a really good start. And it just flabbergasts me that people say, oh, they're doing it for the votes or whatever. Man, I still don't understand how you could do that to your own people. I'm talking about the authorities. And I have a problem trying to keep it off my socials. Every time I try and comment it on my Facebook page, I delete it because it's just going to get reported. And I find it quite frustrating that Facebook's quite like that. Even Will Powerfish, he commented yesterday he had to take down a giveaway post. Like, the restrictions are just crap. I've got one guy who stalks me and the missus, and he's lived in Thailand 26 years. He's just a smoker. His name's Steve. Anyway, and he comments like, we own quite a few investment properties in Thailand, and we've got just a mediocre home. We didn't overspend at all. And he's commenting this morning, oh, you got so many millions of dollars and stuff like this, and you go and buy a place like that. How people can put words in someone else's mouth. And Aussies, I'm not dishing Aussies, please don't think that. Aussies are so good at it to suit their narrative off their conversation they want to get and try and belittle somebody. And while we're on that subject, I don't want to start myself up, but righto, when someone's doing a pushback on something you don't like, yeah, usually every action's got a reaction, and if you can walk away from that reaction to avoid it in your life, it's good, yeah. But to walk away what's happened in Australia and let it be and let things just unfold and those planes just keep arriving, and the 27 million people there are just more worried about car payments or what sort of cars in the driveway, and they don't comprehend 1,000 to 1,200 people coming in a day off that nature, what's going to escalate in 10 years, and no one's doing nothing about it. I'm not putting it into violence or nothing like that. Man, I love my home. And if it ever goes to war, they're going to all ask us for help, yeah? And how do you help something that they created? Think about that. Would you go and help? Let me know in the comments. I always would put my life on the line for the country that gave me so much. But would his family, would his uncle? Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably veering off the conversation level there. Probably keep that opinion to myself, I guess. I don't want to get on restrictions again. I've had more restrictions on Facebook this year than in my whole life. I scored like 40,000 followers. A lot of them come across onto this channel. It's cool. I like to keep it honest. Every month I'm getting warnings. Apparently it's okay to call me this, and as soon as I reply, have you checked the mirror today? Bang, they report me. But they called me all sorts of disgusting names, and my wife disgusting animal names, and she's a hooker, and she's this, and she's that, and how much did you pay for her? And then as soon as I reply, come on man, go to the gym, you know, because he's obviously over whatever, and bang, intimidating, threatening. I'm not joking you guys, I'm not joking you. And this is the way society's going in the West. I am so blessed to get out of there. Some of the stuff that I read and the comments and from all these guys with locked profiles, and they are really, really nasty, you know what I mean? Like, they are nasty. They must have a real miserable life, and it's hard just to keep scrolling, you know. This guy made a comment the other day about being bald. I love being bald. I've got the money to go and fix my hair. I've got the money to go and shift it up to hair and all that sort of stuff. But you know what? A part of me tells me, like, oh, maybe I'll do it later. But a part of me goes, nah, that's like scars and tattoos. Everything's got a story. And it feels like when they say it to me, I'm like, yeah, well, if you've got a full wog of hair up to here and you've tied your hair back in a bun, you haven't lived life, really, because you've still got your hair. Life's about ups and downs and stresses and good times and bad times and death and celebrations and all that sort of stuff. And some of that stuff made my hair fall out, I guess. Or it's just in my genes, I'm not sure. But that's how I feel towards life. I got some massive scars. I got whacked up by a chainsaw when I was younger. I got scars all over my body. Massive stretch marks all on my arms. I was training years ago and got injured and stuff like that, and I had to be strapped up for a while, and I couldn't train for a while. I dropped a lot of size real quickly and created a lot of stretch marks under my arms and my back, and I tried to get rid of them for a bit with bio oil and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what, that's all character to me, man. I've been stabbed in the back and all that sort of stuff, and didn't even know the guy, didn't even talk to him. Just apparently that's what I needed. I don't know what I did wrong. I was just standing there, but that's what happens in life, I guess. 2025 is finished, guys. This is the last day of it, and I'm going to take this YouTube through the world. I'm going to take it through Japan next year. I'm going to take it through India. And I sort of like these one-take things. I like to, like, I can edit and all that sort of stuff, and I probably will go into the editing stage when I start traveling. But I like to keep it raw and authentic. A couple of the comments said about authentic and raw, do I like it? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm all about. It takes a certain person to sit here for, 18 minutes and just whatever comes to his mind expresses, and I want to share that with you guys. I think it's really important to keep it real, and I'm going to try and escalate to make it Thailand more approachable and more easier next year for people to come and live here. People say, oh, about Vietnam is cheaper and Philippines is cheaper, but it hasn't got the lifestyle that Thailand offers. It's just, all right, it's about 20% more expensive to live here with food and transport and all that sort of stuff, but the quality of life is phenomenal, really phenomenal. I can sit in this place here. It's the Pattaya sign, the lookout place. Check this out. That's the sign for Pattaya when you look up on the hill. I can sit here all night and be left alone. No one's going to come and bother me. No one's going to try and intimidate me. No one's going to try and rape me. No one's going to do stuff like that to me. That's another subject I don't really want to talk about. That conviction the other day in Australia, the guy got charged with 17 sexual assaults. 17 of them. 17. And he's still not deported. And I remember back when the 501s were coming out of Australia back to New Zealand, getting kicked out, And one guy from Perth, I can't remember his name offhand, he's a Māori fella. He spent a lot of time in the New Zealand Army, and when he came back to visit Australia, he stayed in Perth. And he rode around with one of the clubs, I won't say the club, but I don't know the guy and I don't know the club, but I was reading the story about it at YouTube. And he got deported out of Australia, out of Perth, because he was riding with the club, but he had no convictions. No convictions at all. And there's many of those 501s from New Zealand. Not that I'm biased and all that sort of stuff, but I think it works both ways. When you had Peter Dutton booting them all out like this, you know, all these Kiwis, and a lot of them were born there in Australia, and they might have had a few convictions or whatever. Or a lot of them didn't. They were born in New Zealand and had no convictions. Those guys that got kicked out of Australia, like those 501s, they should be all let back in, and an apology and maybe a bit of a love. You know, like I think it's completely wrong. I think when you let all what's happening at the moment in there, and they're getting away with it, especially in Melbourne, those teenager running rampant and doing stuff. We were in Deer Park, and I can talk about this because it was my hood. I was in Deer Park for about 2.5 years, and there was an Islander boy. He had a dispute with second-hand information, but he had a dispute with a guy on Facebook, and a South African street boy, and he was an Islander boy. They're all teenagers going to the same school, whatever, and they met up at the bus stop, and the Islander boy got the bad end of the deal. He got jumped by quite a few of them and got killed. This happened like just a couple of blocks away from my house. I witnessed it. I didn't witness the killing itself, but I witnessed the flowers and the movement afterwards, which was pretty sincere to watch. It was howling. It was horrible to watch. To go to my shopping centre and see all his family, all the Islanders come over from the islands and grieve for their teenager son. Those boys, nothing happened. Nothing happened to them. Yeah, and to hear all the 501s getting the arse out of Australia, I don't know. I think it's completely wrong. I think it needs to. There's going to be no happy stories at the end of this situation. How can Europe, Germany, Canada, Australia, all these countries have the same sort of authorities doing the same thing at the same time? Really? That's my opinion. Am I blessed to be away from it? Sort of, yes, and I know. I think watching it getting destroyed from over here is pretty hard to watch some days. I think it's I think there's better places to live, and this is one of them. I'll show you. That's the Gulf of Thailand, guys. That's the Pattaya sign up on the hill in Pattaya. If you want to come up here, it's not too hard to find. Pretty cool location. I wish everyone a happy new year tonight. Keep safe. Thanks for subscribing, and please, for heaven's sake, keep safe tonight. Peace out.